There's a lot to talk about. Let's start with the news.
Yes, my news story. Something exciting to begin with. So Lewis Hamilton is now driving for Ferrari. Now, we knew he was driving for Ferrari, but this weekend in particular, he officially started and he drove the Formula One car for the very first time. But he took an amazing set of photos at the factory, not with the newest Ferrari, not with the most cutting edge, with the great one, the F40.
There's a lot of stuff I want to say about this picture. And I want to start with the fact that done even a little differently, it could have been like a subject of mockery, but instead you look at this and you're like, damn, this guy is going to come and beat everybody. Yeah. This guy is going to show up and just run the table.
Yes, well, that's the hope. I've been a Ferrari fan for my entire life. I've been watching Formula One for 17 years or 18 years, and in that time, Ferrari has not won a world championship. Been 17 years of failure, and we got so close and they'd screwed up. But Lewis Hamilton, the most successful driver in history, is now driving for the team. So, like, a lot of Ferrari fans have a lot of hope. Now, I personally know Ferrari, and, like, I'm not so sure. I believe
but Lewis, but you understand what this picture is saying. Lewis
I know what this is saying. I'm here.
By the way, don't you agree that if you just described this picture, you'd be like, that sounds really dumb. But then you look at it and you're like, oh my God, don't kill my family, Lewis. Please spare my children.
Here's a dude standing in a jacket in front of an F40 in front of a house.
Like there was no attempt to do
the impact. The
impact is there.
There was no attempt to do the picture in the dry or in the sun, and that kind of fits with the image. It's like I've come to bring the thunderclouds. I also just absolutely love the fact that he chose the F40, which was obviously his choice.
Yes.
Ferrari would have given anything to have their new star in front of the SF90, which they're desperately trying to sell, and instead he's like, nah, I'm going to do a good one. I'm going to actually do a good one. Thanks so much, though.
Remember when you built great cars? I'm going to go to the best of them. But nonetheless, it is very exciting. I am not as optimistic because Ferrari's biggest problem has just been their strategy. They get in their own way, and like that's what has created their problems. The cars have been good. The drivers have been excellent. It's them. And so I do wonder what they showed Lewis Hamilton to get him to leave Mercedes. I mean, Lewis has nothing to prove in his career.
Euros.
Yeah, but he already made so much money. It's not money.
Yeah, but
the prestige of driving for the brand is one thing, which in all Formula One drivers' minds is something you want to drive for Ferrari.
Yeah, they play for the Yankees.
But it's like it is. Yes, it is yes,
for
that
all
is true.
Of our,
it's like playing for the Yankees
that aren't F1 fans.
Can I ask you a question about Lewis?
Sure.
I don't know anything about Formula One, but I've done cursory research on the topic. Lewis may be the most successful driver in history. I personally can't verify it because I don't know.
Seven world championships.
However, he's 40 years old.
Wow.
And hasn't won a championship in 5 years. So 20 was his last year. So I don't know how they count years, but that's 5 or 4 or some amount of years. So he's 40. In my world, in the sports world, the world where we like the Yankees, Derek Jeter.
No.
Okay. He's a Red Sox fan.
Yep.
40 is kind of starting to get...
Fernando Alonso is older, I believe, and still races in the sport. Like, Lewis...
You get the point I'm making.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Lewis. It's like LeBron James. LeBron James is also 40, and he's still a critical producer like on the Lakers.
But when Jordan was at his prime, he was like 26,
but Jordan,
and he was making baskets over everybody's head.
I don't know if it's that technology has changed or these athletes take a lot better care of themselves, but I mean...
They do.
It's very different now. But nonetheless, Lewis is... I am very curious to see how he performs in the car. The other thing is that Lewis is not someone who adapts to the cars very well. They adapt the cars to him, which Ferrari will do. But like when George Russell joined Mercedes...
Are you not a little bit anxious at the fact that like maybe they've gone after this guy who is this major legend and he's maybe a little on the other side?
Well, this is that's exactly what happened with Sebastian Vettel when he drove for Ferrari, was that he won 4 world championships, went to Ferrari and still did well, but he didn't win a championship.
What happened to Vettel, by the way?
He retired.
But he's got to be younger than Lewis.
He is. I'm pretty sure he is.
So Lewis is out here. By the way,
but Sebastian won 4, Lewis won 7.
Yeah, but when I was
That's
a kid,
the difference.
When I was a young adult, Sebastian won like every race. Boom, Sebastian. Boom,
for
Sebastian.
4 seasons.
Boom,
yes.
Sebastian. Those were 4 informative seasons for Doug. Lewis Hamilton, by the way, apparently he's a pretty good race car driver, and in this thing he looks like a mafia don, which honestly is I think what they were going for.
And it works.
And there's some Italy stuff going on. However, his biggest claim to fame, I think we all agree, is that his dad crashed a Carrera GT into a playground.
His dad did do that. So they did do that.
Well, also in the news this week, he has added his mother's maiden name to his name.
Okay, so but the Carrera GT crash, you were aware of the crash?
I remember it well.
There was a playground, there was a Carrera GT, there was Lewis Hamilton's dad.
Let's not focus on his dad's driving career. Let's focus on Lewis. This is very big news. The Italian government actually sent a lot of police to hold back crowds too and stuff, just because there's so much excitement around this. Because although you weren't a high performance car, you can recognize that in Italy there are like 3 religions basically, and Ferrari is the second largest behind the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Like so it's a huge deal, and I am very excited. My dad is a huge Lewis fan, and we for the first time ever will root for the same team, which will be really cool.
Because he's been rooting for Mercedes-Benz and or Red Bull and or...
No, Lewis has driven for 2 teams ever, McLaren, Mercedes.
We don't know those. Honestly, I thought they were the same because they made the SLR. Remember the one with no roof?
There was a time when they were. There was a time, but yes, and they're separate teams, and that's who
There
Lewis
was one
won the
with no
championship
roof,
for.
and I'm not talking about the Roadster. All right,
let's go, Lewis.
This is very big. We're all very excited. The Formula One season ended about 2 days ago. It starts again about 2 days from now. So we will...
That is how it feels.
We will find out soon whether this picture, he's really the Mafia Don that he seems to be, or if he's just a guy who's maybe
I'm going to make
too
the prediction now. I think that this year won't be the year that matters. It'll be
wow.
next year when the formula changes, because there's a huge update that comes, and I think that's the technology
You know what
Ferrari
they call
showed
it
him
when they
to
change
like,
it?
get him excited.
Formula 2.
Ooh.
Right now they got Formula
Right,
1.
that'll be Formula
They got
2.
changed the formula
Yeah.
to Formula 2.
That exists. Formula 2 is a thing of its own.
Do you think we can get him to race an F40 in a race?
Oh, man.